What the heck is up, everybody? Welcome to You Grow Up, Level Up, episode 1. This is a brand new show. If you are confused, what the heck is going on? Don't worry, because we are here to explain that right now. So my name is Samson. I'm the host of a show called Grow Up, Level Up. But today I am also the host of a show called You Grow Up, Level Up, or as we affectionately call it, UGULU. And
UGULU!
If you heard that bird call on the podcast, or if you're watching, you might notice a familiar face here. We're bringing back Samantha Dowdell here on the podcast. Sam, can you reintroduce yourself for people tuning in again for the first time?
Hi, my name is Samantha Dowdell. You can just call me Sam. I'm just your friendly neighborhood middle school teacher, choir director, singer, songwriter, vocal coach, and I'm pursuing this new thing called performance or productivity coaching. I've been learning so much new cool stuff over the past few years, and as well as wanting to pursue a career in counseling. And every time I come across new information about how to make your life better, I get really excited and I need to share it with someone. So
Totally.
This is that space for Sam to literally just let me loose and talk about stuff that I've been learning. And some of this episode is really a lesson that I give to my middle school students at the beginning of the year. Spoilers for whatever this
Well,
it's not
spoilers.
I probably have to teach it to them like 3 or 4 times, so I hope that they remember. But
yeah, that's true. So yeah, like Sam said, this is a podcast where we share the cool tips and tools that we learned in our lives so far, as well as learn along the way. A little bit more about that in a second. But overall, You Grow Up, Level Up is a podcast that helps you become a better overall student, employee, hobbyist, person, whatever you identify as. And our goal is to give you the tools for that. We'll be bringing in research-backed information on why certain strategies work or don't work. We'll also be sharing how we personally incorporate these strategies into our lives, maybe to success or not success. The goal of this podcast is to share these skills and hopefully help you become a more well-rounded person. I don't know, how do you describe that? Maybe
a better person. Just be better.
Just be better.
to be more happy, successful, to reach the goals you want to reach. And everything I'm gonna say ever is going to be with this caveat that you do whatever works for you, and just learning new things and exploring new options is really what's going to get you closer.
Yes,
that's all.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because we might have come off as very egotistical. Like, we are the boss. We know what's up. We got our lives figured out. We don't. Like, we're still growing up in our late 20s, going into our 30s. So we have so much to learn about life.
My students know this very well.
Okay, boomer. But yeah, we're just here to provide you tools and cool things that we learned. Whether you choose to use them is totally up to you, as well as if they are successful for you, we'd love to know. So please write in at Grow Up Level Up, just comment under the posts or DM me. We'd love to know how these tools have helped you or not helped you. But basically, our goal is not to tell you what is the right thing to do. Our goal is just to share certain things that helped us navigate anywhere from like our teenage lives to going into university and then entering our careers now. So please don't take this as we know what's best for you, and we're definitely not God.
We are not God.
Yeah,
we repeat.
We put that on the
quote. We're coming to you in your earbuds, but
yeah, that's true. Just the voice in your head. But no, definitely try the tools that we give you. If they work, we'd love to know, and if they don't work, we'd also love to know. And we'll also be sharing like tools that we have found that we've tried and they work or don't work.
Yeah, I'm excited for the discussions on how each of us approach our worlds differently, because I think we have a really nice rounded balance between, the types of tools that might work for us. And even then, I feel like there'll be some other people, you listening might have a totally different view than us as well. So we're going to try to cover all the different ways that these tools can be used, or these kind of concepts.
Yeah. And write in like however well they worked or didn't work. Or if we got, and one more thing, if we got something wrong, we need you to call us out on it. or if you disagree with something or anything like that, we love to know. So please write in. Our DMs are open on all the socials. So write in about what worked for you, what didn't work for you, or what we got wrong on the show. We try to be as factual as we can.
Absolutely.
So without further ado, Sam, are you ready to get into episode 1?
Oh, I'm so ready to get into episode 1. I'm so ready.
Excellent. Well, sorry, I'm going to have to hold you down for one more minute. I want to know what you did this weekend and what you did for fun.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this whole last week I've been in Nova Scotia for my friend's wedding.
Oh, wedding.
Yes.
Wedding season.
Wedding season, baby. It was so fun. This whole past summer, I've been really inspired just constantly. I've not been working for a month, and going to this wedding was just really affirming that, like, watching and meeting so many amazing people who are doing so cool and doing amazing things in their lives and are just super nice. So I was just surrounded by a lot of like goodness and happiness. And
yeah. It's like the vibe at weddings are very like everyone's there to celebrate either one person, or it's just cool to catch up and see what other people are up to, right? It is sometimes intimidating because it's like, oh, I have to see so-and-so. I haven't seen them in 10 years.
And especially if it's someone you don't really know or it's someone you really love and you're meeting their friends or their family. I feel like there's this pressure to, oh, I hope they like me. And like, I hope that I come across well. But that fear quickly went away and I just jumped in there and met all of these new people and they were all wonderful.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. Nova Scotia?
Nova Scotia, Halifax.
It's on my bucket
Try
list.
Their
I need
donair.
to go. Oh, donair.
So good. What did you get up to?
Oh,
I did.
Lobster?
Yes. Yeah. That's very expensive. I had way too much of it for my bank account, but it was worth it. Yeah.
Very nice. What did I do? I went to a local water park called Cultus Lake Water Park. If you are from Vancouver or the surrounding areas, you'll know it. Yeah.
Classic.
I feel like everybody goes at one point in their life for like their grade 8 trip or their high school trip. But I went just for fun, just for myself and my fiance. And yeah, we just wanted to have a good time.
Oh, fiance. That's the first time I've heard you say that. That's so cool.
It's an inside base. So this is behind the scenes. We'll dive into it in another episode. But so we went and man, do I feel old. Because one, like I didn't mind like swimming. I don't mind change rooms anymore, like the kids. But getting on the floaties, this water park, for those who don't know, it's like lots of big water slides, lots of big water attractions where you swing down really fast and come back up. And some of the floaties are like some of them aren't really inflated, or some of them got deflated through the day. So what happened was I sat on one of the floaties and it was just a little too deflated. So I leaned back and I got like jerked by one turn on the water slide, and I'm pretty sure it hurt my back.
I was going to say, you couldn't get out of it, could you?
I definitely rolled out of it when the ride ended. No. I did not get up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We're getting there. Just back problems. Like, I could like fall and scrape my everything and be like, I'm fine. And now if I sleep wrong, like it's like a whole week of recovery. It's
true. Makes me wonder how Tony Hawk does it. Like he's been skating.
Oh my gosh. There's some people I want to get into the science of that maybe later too.
Yeah,
but
another day. So if you're going to the water park and you're old, don't forget to stretch before.
Especially if you're old like us.
Yeah, don't forget to stretch after. And just get ready to like
just spend
to
the
brace.
whole time stretching. Actually,
don't
even go.
You're gonna wait in line for a while. You might as well stretch a little bit. Yeah,
no,
and brace.
That's super fun.
But yeah, overall it was super fun. There's like a free fall slide. It was crazy. It was a really fun time. Water fun park, still fun when you're an adult with no kids.
Yeah, so. I feel like there's so many things that, as in my early 20s, I thought I'm supposed to leave that behind. That's for kids. No, it's back. I just love it. Love being silly. Love swimming. I went swimming. We just like splashed each other, acted like 8-year-olds. Like,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with
it. For real. Anyways, thank you for listening to our weeks. That's how we did our self-care this week. Sam went to a wedding. I went to a water park. But it's now time to get into our topic of the show.
Ooh.
Sam, what did you prepare for us today?
I prepared a little thing about time management. So it's right now we're recording this. It's is it September 1st? Already?
It is August 31st.
It's August 31st. So September is tomorrow. And when this gets released, you might be in the middle of kind of the beginnings of the year. So I'm coming at this as a teacher. I'm thinking about all the students who are going to be coming through my doors who, as middle schoolers, have no idea how to organize their own time. And I think that a lot of adults, we struggle with this because we learn how to manage our time, but then something happens, there changes in our life, and we kind of lose it or forget it. I have met many adults who don't use a calendar. They just fall out of it, or they never really clicked with it, never really knew how to use a calendar or an agenda or a schedule. And I think it's a really important skill to revisit every once in a while. I revamp how I do my scheduling every once in a while, but I've found like as I said brain, my brain didn't brain. I found that this 4-step process really helps anyone that I'm talking to, whether it's a student I'm teaching who's in grade 7, or it's someone I'm coaching who's entering university, or someone who is going back to school, or someone who is entering the workforce. Like this easy 4-step way to manage your time so that you can get lots done that you want to get done. If you don't want to get things done, don't worry about it. But if you want to get things done, it's really helpful.
Okay.
But also do it in a way that's sustainable and you don't burn yourself out. You don't.
So these tools are going to be very versatile, work for many schedules, and it's kind of up to you as a person to best manage your time. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to look different. It's going to look different depending on what your life looks like, which is why the 4 easy steps are very broad, and they do take a little bit of time to explain. But once you are able to apply them, I think they really do make sense to whatever life you have.
Awesome. Well, without further ado, let's dive into step number 1 of 4 about time management.
Okay, step number 1. Well, before we even get to step number 1, I'm so sorry.
Oh man, step 0.
Step 0. You have to understand that everything you want to do in your life takes time. Now, I know that is a crazy thing to just say, of course it takes everything, but everything does take time. And I think that is something that we often forget. The biggest thing I had to learn as someone who does not manage my time very well, I actually am diagnosed with ADHD. And so I have time blindness. So I don't experience time in the ways that other people experience time.
Sorry, quickly, can you explain time blindness?
Time blindness is this idea that I have a lot of difficulty thinking about how long something takes. So if someone says, my partner will often ask, "Are you ready to leave?" And I'll go, "Yep." All I need to do is get my keys, get my bag, brush my teeth, and put my shoes on. That'll take a minute, right? He goes, "No."
Brush your teeth is 2 minutes already.
Right? Like, I don't know. I think, I can do that in 5 seconds. And, so time blindness is this idea that it's very hard to think about, all these things actually all take time. On the flip side, time blindness can mean I get very scared that I don't know how much time something takes. Maybe this is some of our listeners as well. You don't know how long something takes, so you're going to give it a full hour to brush your teeth because you're not sure. You're like, I have to do this, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take me, so I'm going to give myself way too much time and be very scared that I'll run out of time. So it can cause anxiety and lots of other things. But yeah, time blindness. If you have time blindness, I'd love to know if you also experience that. But it's just one thing about me that I've discovered I have. So I think even if you don't have ADHD, or even if you don't identify with time blindness, I'm sure everyone can identify with this feeling of, have you ever tried to get something done, but you felt like you're running out of time, or you're not sure how long something is going to take you, and now you've overestimated or you've underestimated.
Okay.
These tools kind of help us or stop us from overestimating or underestimating how long something's going to take. And it can also decrease a lot of anxiety when you feel overwhelmed by a very, very large task.
Right. So it helps you frame a start and an end,
yes,
which will help you also reduce anxiety because you know like when to start, when to end.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, and you know all the steps. So yeah, so that's step 0. Here are the 4 steps.
Okay.
Should I give them all? I'll give them all. And then
like a little overview, and then we'll go through them.
So 4 steps to what's called time block. There's a different kind of scheduling that's been talked about by many other YouTubers, and there's books that reference it. Going through this process in this order, I find, will maximize your productivity and give more time to yourself to do other things as well that rejuvenate you. First, you look at your schedule, whether it's a week at a time, a month at a time. I usually go about a week at a time. First, you put your meetings down. Put down your meetings.
Meetings as in like you're seeing another person.
Yeah, it could be. But it could also not be.
Okay.
But yes, meetings usually mean someone else is also involved. And so there's no other time you can do it. Then you put down your due dates. This makes more sense if you work in a place that gives you due dates, like you have to, this report is due on this day, or, I need that by Friday, or you're in school or you have assignments that are due at certain times.
Yeah, like this project is due for this client at a certain time.
Totally. Exactly. So you put your due dates in. Because submitting something also takes a bit of time. So you want to give yourself that time to get it to that person and to check over it and to make sure it's good.
Totally.
Next, third, you're going to do your due dates.
Due as in D-O.
Due as in D-O. So you got the due date and the due date.
Okay.
They're different times and places. I found that when I'm teaching middle schoolers, it's the first time they've ever had those like little agendas.
Oh, yeah. And planners.
I never learned how to use those. I'm not gonna lie. Like no one ever really explained. We wrote things down on like days, but we'd write down a note to our parents. So really, the agenda was always used as like
a parent communication book. So
we wouldn't actually put down on the actual day.
So for folks that didn't grow up in Canada, we were given from like kindergarten to grade 12, like these really cool books actually.
Every year.
Yeah, like these really cool notebooks that have calendar that's broken out to every day. And they were, we were supposed to write our homework in them, write reminders, due dates. But yeah, I feel like we were taught how to use them once, and then like every subsequent teacher that after used them in slightly different ways.
And then, slightly different ways, and then I just get yelled at by my parents that I wasn't using it, but I didn't know how to use it.
I'm pretty sure I doodled on mine and ripped pages out.
I'm pretty sure I lost mine. So every September, but yeah, so we used to like write in basically a notebook. This is due on Friday. And so we'd write it down, and then what would happen? We'd forget about it. Separating the due dates, you write down on the actual day where it is, and then the due date, you write down when you're going to do it, which is different. And I can get more into that as well.
Yeah.
The last thing, the fourth step that I think is really important, you wrote down your meetings, you wrote down your due dates, then you wrote down your due dates. The last thing is some self-care or some fun. And I think that's really important to put down because you are not a productivity machine. You need rest and rejuvenation. You're a biological being that needs to go through those cycles of productivity. And so making sure that there is time for that, I think, is really important, especially in calendar or time blocking. Time blocking can look really scary. It can look like literally just like my calendar looks insane to some people because it's just colors all the way down.
Right.
People think, oh my God, you're so overscheduled. I'm like, no, this is just time blocking because I have time blindness. And if I don't put lunch in my schedule, I'm not going to eat lunch. Like I'm not going to get that little reminder. I have a watch on usually that gives me a little reminder. So time blocking is a bit different than like you have to be able to read it and come up with a system that works for you. Some people like lots of things on their calendars. Some people don't like many things because it overwhelms them. So they'll just put, they're not worried about forgetting to eat lunch. So they're going to get hungry and they're going to eat lunch. I don't work like that.
Or like eat a snack late at night because they didn't eat anything all night.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So 4 steps. We have time blocking overall. We have meetings, number 1. Number 2, due dates. Things that have an end. And then we have due dates, things that you have to do. And then we have self-care. I'm really looking forward to number 4.
Yeah, that's the most fun part.
Yeah, exactly. But how do you let's start with number 1, meetings. How would you schedule your meetings? We briefly talked about it, but maybe we can dive a little deeper.
Meetings to me is, I think you hit on the head intuitively. It's when you are needing to be with another person and both your schedules have to match up. It's not like a task you can do at any point. And this is something that's kind of in place of a to-do list, right? Like, so the meetings have to come first. Like you can't, if you tried to put down, oh, I need to, walk the dog, so I'll put it down in this place. And then you realize, oh, I promised Katie I'd meet them for coffee. Now you've got to move that around. So it's just a way to make sure that those things go first, that the other people's schedules who can't normally move go first.
Yeah, there's like another party involved.
There's another party involved, so those things usually go in and everything else can get slotted in around them. For me, the meetings are really like actual meetings so that the classes I teach, like I can't just randomly move a class I teach.
That's pretty important.
Right? like there's 30 people waiting for me.
Yeah, there's 30 people waiting, not just one other person.
I mean, they might not be that upset if I don't show up, but my admin would definitely not be happy, and I would not get paid for that day if I didn't show up. So those things have to go. Meetings with parents, for example, are things that I have to make sure I remember. If I have to stay after school or if I can, go to the gym because that's part of my self-care, I want to make sure those meetings are first and then everything else kind of gets slotted around. Hope that makes sense. Now, you do get a sense of if you have too many meetings usually because you have to imagine, well, you got 3 more steps left. So if your entire week is just meetings, that's not going to be, you're not going to have time for the other things. So kind of keeping that in mind as you go. I try to do maximum like 2 things a day now. That's my new thing. So I do 2 things a day. I used to do like 3 or 4 things a day. I used to like drive somewhere in the morning and then drive somewhere in the afternoon and then drive somewhere in the evening and drive somewhere later in the evening. It was just too much for me. So I have that rule in place for my meetings. I have 2 meetings a day or 2 meeting places. I go to work and then I have 1 thing in the afternoon and that's it. Or 1 thing in the evening, I guess.
And these are separate from your work things.
Separate from my work thing. The work is a meeting for me.
True.
Work is a meeting for me. Maybe it's not for you, but for me, it's a
meeting with 40 other people.
I have to be there with other people. So because I don't have tasks, I just have people to not die. I don't know what to say.
You have people to teach.
Just stay alive.
And to take care of. Yeah, very important.
To take care of. Yeah, people to take care of, and then I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So meetings are events that involve other people that are harder to reschedule because you have to deal with a whole other person. So those priority number 1,
a whole other person.
You don't want to disappoint or like not fail.
It's just a hassle to like reschedule
also
things.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life is easier. So priority number 1 when you're meeting with someone, make sure that is time block. That's the first thing you're working on.
Yeah, first thing you're working on, scheduling your meetings, making sure you have time to get from one place to the other is also really important.
Yeah.
So you know whereabouts you're going to be if you're able to do things. So I know that I can already tell, I have to be at work until 4:30 because I teach choir, and then I have to go home because I have a vocal coaching client later that day. I know that I'm not. But at the same time, okay, so on my way home from work to home, I can maybe pick something up at the store. So I can kind of know whereabouts I'm going to be. And that way the tasks that I put around make more sense.
Totally. No, that's awesome. Second step. So once you got those meetings done, you know where to be, when to be, and you put time around. You have due dates, DUE dates. So these are deadlines, more or less.
Deadlines, yeah, the deadlines. People. And you block out time to take care of that deadline and to check that you've done it and to submit it and what it is. Sometimes I simply put it as like I use iCalendar. Excuse me, I'm drinking so much pop.
For those listening, we got like Coca-Cola.
Oh yeah, we're liquided. We got all our beverages out. What was I saying?
so due dates. You these are deadlines.
Yeah, so they're deadlines. I usually put it as like an all-day task. Or an all-day block. So it's just like the goals of the day, kind of. Like these are the things that I'm supposed to do today. I've got to do it at some time that day. If I know the exact time, then I'll usually put in more of the exact time. But if it's just something, it's got to be in by the 31st or whatever it is, I'll put it in that way, or I'll make it a time block that says, for report cards, for example, I'm a teacher, I'll make a time block that says print report cards and walk down to the office because that's part of the task is that I have to actually submit it before noon or whatever it is. So
that's an interesting one because like for me, I work as a community manager, so I have due dates that lead to other dates. Part of my job is planning events, and I can't plan an event on like the day before the event happens, right? So my due date for the event is actually like 2-3 weeks before, and then I'm making a due date for making announcements, and then I'm making a due date for getting like food and drink together.
Do you have all these like markers you need to hit before the actual event?
Yeah, which is the meeting, I guess.
Yeah.
So the due dates are like little milestones that lead up to it. As well as I want to also acknowledge like due dates can also involve other people. It could be like maybe if you're an artist and you have a painting due for someone, you need to have that painting done at a certain time. So
like the handoff, or if there's a due date for a report that you're supposed to show to your boss, like again, as a teacher, if you're a student, then your due date actually is the class that you actually handed in during the class. Like some point during this class, you're going to be asked for that piece of paper, or that, you know, you have to click that submit button before the class. You can't do it after the class. It's got to be before the class. So the class becomes the due date, actually.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So there's lots of different ways a due date can look like.
Yeah.
But they are important because they usually involve other people, and you can give yourself due dates, I guess.
Yeah, like absolutely.
Leading up to the person due date, I guess, or the meeting, whichever tier you want to put that in. So what about due dates? What are DO dates?
Due dates are the things, they're your tasks. So really it's meetings, deadlines, as you said, is another way you could say due dates. And then the due dates, when you actually do it, could be your tasks. So I like how you already had kind of tasks out. You had sub due dates, kind of. You had sub deadlines. Like this is when this part needs to happen. This is when this part needs to happen. You're like very thoughtful about doing that. For myself, I kind of struggle with that sometimes. Like I don't know how long something's going to take. So it's really helpful for me to split up that final, you know, submission into several little steps. So for my report cards, a report card is basically like writing 30 mini essays. Like you have to write. It's a lot of writing. There's no way you can do it in one sitting. Like I do a lot in one sitting.
You hear that, students? You can't write 30 essays in one sitting.
You can't write 30 essays in one sitting. I mean, you could try, but it would probably suck. I'm just saying, like, go for it if you really want. But for me, I don't want to do that. So I split it up into little sections, and I give myself mini deadlines or ideas of what I can do. There's actually a really, really cool website that does this for you automatically.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I have to remember what it's called. We'll probably have it in the show notes, but I think it's called like
This is live searching right now.
I'm just remembering it now.
But if we don't manage to find it in the next 10 seconds, we'll put it in the show notes below.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
I think it's like Goblin Tools or something.
Goblin Tools.
Yeah, goblin.tools. I can't believe I remembered that.
That's amazing.
So they've got a bunch of, it's all AI. They have a magic to do. So it breaks things down so you don't. So you add in something and it'll split it up into a bunch of steps for you, which is kind of cool. So if you type in like put on an event and you're like, I don't know what to do to put on an event, you can split it up into a bunch of not random, it's like thought out by the AI machine into different steps to do. And if those steps are things that you don't know how to do, you can magically break down those steps. So you can break things down a lot. This is a really great tool for people who struggle with that. So
or even like I've never planned an event before. What the heck do I even do?
What I'm doing. Yeah. Now it is AI, so it might not actually apply to what you need, but it'll give you a really good idea. Yeah.
AI is a whole other subject that maybe we'll dive into in a future show. But for now, goblin.tools, if you ever need ideas on how to actually do your due dates, goblin.tools, definitely check it out. And we'll link it in the show notes below as well. I think that's a really cool tool. That's awesome for due dates. So due dates are the times or the blocks where you're actively doing a task.
Yes, and this is important. So you have your meetings in your calendar. You have the markers of when this has got to be done by. Now you slot in those tasks where they make sense to make sure that you're done for them. So this is me teaching my students at the beginning of the year. Listen, if you have soccer practice on Tuesday and this reading is due on Wednesday, and you come to school on Wednesday and you tell me, Miss Dowdell, I couldn't do the reading. I was at soccer practice. I'm going to say, that's just not good time management. We're going to need to revisit how to do this. So as adults, we know that we can't walk into work and say, sorry, I didn't do it because my mom
was too busy playing Call of Duty.
I had this other thing to do. Like it's usually a legitimate thing that they have to do, but you need to take control of your schedule and not put yourself in those situations because they suck. They like it's not fun being in that situation, not realizing that you know your chance to do that thing was on Monday and now Tuesday got really busy. Right? It's this idea that you have control over your time and you know what's coming up and you know what there is happening in your life. You're not caught off guard as many times. There's gonna be times when things pop up, but
and that's a good point. Caveat is that like things pop up, life happens, like unpredictable stuff happens. But with these tools, the idea is you set yourself up for success as best you can.
Absolutely. And I like that we're talking about things that randomly pop up. This is why you don't necessarily want to like schedule time block your entire day all the time because when those things pop up, I often go and I just like click the blocks over. And so I make sure that I'm kind of really relaxed going through everything. Sometimes I have to, you know, put 2 blocks together and be like, okay, instead of taking an hour to do research, I'm just going to quickly do like half an hour because that's all I can afford this week because of these other things have popped up. So you can have that control and that anxiety will go down if you're feeling overwhelmed. Like, how am I going to get this thing done by Friday? Like you can see like, okay, if I spend, you know, just an hour on this, just an hour on that, you know, you're good. Awesome. You're good.
Speaking of being good, step number 4 is self-care.
Yay.
Yes. What is that?
Self-care and fun. What is that? Self-care is how you replenish and rejuvenate your own energy so that you can be better at the things that you're trying to do, that you want to accomplish. I'm a really big advocate of happiness and what's called now the happiness advantage. One of my favorite books is by Sean Akor, and he was a researcher at Harvard for many, many years, researching happiness and how it actually affects your ability to do things better and faster. So being happy can actually make you more effective at doing things shorter and doing things in a shorter amount of time, I mean, and doing them better.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So when you are able to replenish your energy, things take less time and you're more relaxed and you're happier, which is good, right? Like, you're happier. I hope you all want that. You all deserve that.
Everybody deserves happiness.
And it looks very different for many different people. Many people talk about introversion versus extroversion as being like how you get your energy from people or you get your energy alone. That's a common thing people talk about nowadays. Many people have discovered that, you know, it's not quite clear cut. Like it depends on the person that you're hanging out with.
Totally, yeah.
It depends on, you know, what your goal is. And I think I've realized as someone who's very self-proclaimed extrovert that even I need alone time and I really benefit from it. So some things that I really like to do for my self-care is I like to meditate. I take baths. I love walks in nature. There's a lot of research around how walking in nature can really benefit you. And we're so lucky here in Vancouver. If you're a Vancouverite, like, you know.
Nature is great. Like,
there's
great
so much.
Weather. Just need the right shoes.
Need the right shoes and the right jacket, depending on the weather.
True.
What does self-care look like for you?
Great question. So I want to say that self-care, I'm also, I would say, a little bit extroverted compared to most people. But self-care could be playing video games with my partner. Just like not looking at the time, just going game after game. We like to play Overwatch. So most of the time we lose, but we're working on that. So, but just not watching at the time and winning together or losing together is just fun.
I love that.
Another form of self-care is I really like grabbing this laptop here and going to a like coffee shop or a brewery and just spending time by myself, catching up on YouTube videos or working on this podcast or just learning something. I think those are kind of my 2 self-care things, is like playing video games with my partner or working on personal projects. I feel like I'm so busy sometimes with work and with other jobs and people commitments, my meetings, that time with myself and working on things that I really want to do is my self-care. So this podcast is my self-care.
This podcast, I was just going to say too, this podcast doing these kinds of things is definitely part of my self-care because as an extrovert, I love talking about this stuff. So, and it's very relaxed, you know, we talked about making mistakes, like being okay. And I think that's a big part about your things of self-care is like, if you are trying to do your self-care right, that's almost like the opposite effect. You deserve time to not have to have pressure to do it correctly. You're just being You're doing something creative. There's no pressure to do it a certain way. To me, that's a big proponent of self-care, is that if there's no pressure for me to do something correctly, it's more likely to become self-care rejuvenating. Yeah, I was thinking something else, but then it left my brain.
Okay, maybe it'll come back later. I would love to know what our listeners and our audience do for self-care.
Yeah.
I personally just love learning new things. So I'd love to learn, like, do you watch TV? Do you also go on walks? Do you go to the gym? Do you like, I don't know, cook or bake or stuff like that? So I'd love to know what you do for self-care. And if you would, please
I remember the
send a
thing is
message in.
that self-care often looks like the opposite of your work. So
Mm.
if I'm a teacher all day and I'm talking, well, I did talk about this being self-care, but there's no pressure here. I think that's why sitting at home alone and meditating is so rejuvenating, because it's very opposite. So if you're different than that, if maybe your job is studying and being alone, and you're a student, so your work looks like being alone reading a book, maybe your self-care has to look a little bit different than that. Maybe your self-care is getting out there, going to meet your friends for a coffee or drinks, some beverage, any beverage of choice. Maybe that's your self-care. So
Totally.
yeah, really discovering what rejuvenates you and being mindful about that.
Yeah. One common one that is common is people who maybe work at desks a lot exercise for self-care, which is not only good for you and good for your body. It's the opposite of what they're doing. Instead of sitting at a desk, they're lifting heavy weights or going for a run. So being hyperactive to counteract the not so physically active. So
absolutely, and exercise is huge with self-care, especially when it comes to getting rid of stress. So like if you're feeling a lot of stress building through the day, exercise is one of those things that can really relieve that. Even if you don't feel like doing it, it's so good for you. And if you give it a chance, maybe you'll find that that's something that becomes so important to you. So you do not want to have that go to the wayside and get overscheduled with meetings and not have time for that, because you want to be the most effective and happy version of yourself. Make time for it. Make sure it's in your calendar. Make sure it's given as equal priority as any of your tasks.
Yeah. So maybe in the future, and this is what we do here on You Grow Up, Level Up. We do business development in the middle of the show. We should do an episode on physical self-care, or just like exercising in general. Yeah.
Yes.
In the future.
Yeah. And I have a lot of resources and thoughts around burnout. And if you've burned out,
spicy.
And there's this thing called the stress cycle. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, so stay tuned for that. So those are 4 great tools: meetings, due dates, and self-care. And we kind of talked about those are kind of the priorities, the ways you want to schedule those in that order. What are some of the tools you use to actually schedule those? Like by tools, I mean like journals or calendars or apps. Like for you, what do you use to schedule your time blocking?
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like I'm a very special person. So I don't know if you listening are really going to, do not have to do this, but I use iCalendar because I really like how you can change the blocks around a lot really easily. I found that when I was using Google Calendar is super great for if you're organizing things with other people and you can really easily send them information.
That's true. You can add
that's
their
super
email
nice.
in, right?
Yeah, iCalendar is not so much like that, but whenever there's something that pops up, which it often does in my job, I can really quickly just like click and drag blocks around, which is really nice. So that always happens as a middle school teacher, most teachers, but I think a lot middle school teachers or anyone who has a job where your day is always in flux. Like you never really know what's going to happen. I find iCalendar is my favorite, and I also have a physical calendar that weekly I will physically write in it, and there is science behind physically writing things down. It's calming. It helps us like really think about every word that we're writing. There's this physical connection. So I try to spend some time actually physically writing and copying from my calendar because I find it calming and pretty and I get to doodle.
That's
so
true.
I have both.
Okay. So it's like almost like reaffirming your digital and your physical. Okay. Yeah. For me, I work at a tech accelerator, so I have to use something techy. But for me, I use Google Calendar. And the reason why I do that is similar reasons. You can drag and move and adjust things. You can also invite people to things really easily just by adding their email. You can shorten things, duplicate things. But for me, I think the advantage with that is it's always in my pocket.
Yeah.
It's always on my phone. I can always flip to it and see what's coming up next or like what time it is and match that up. I find that really helps myself with time blocking. And I only really found that out like recently working this job where before when I worked as a child and youth care worker, a lot of my schedule was based on where I physically am. So it's like I knew I had to be at a certain school site. I know because I'm actually there. But for like a desk job, which I'm kind of doing now, it's more like I'm sitting at the computer the whole time. And if I don't have those blocks, my day kind of becomes one big wash because I'm not physically in a different space. I also want to expand one more step is with that time blocking, I also have a little notepad I keep to the right of my desk. And for that notepad, I write down my daily tasks. So like little things I need to actually get done by the end of the day. So it's like email so-and-so, post about this online, or I don't know, follow up on this message. And that like permanent physical thing really helps me not only like sense of achievement and accomplishment.
Cross it off.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow,
great.
I did 7 things today. It just helps me like maintain. I have something to do. A lot of times, during the day, I'll like get up, grab some water, sit back down, and I completely forgot what I was doing.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I think lots of people have felt that, especially when your whole day is just kind of like you're a little, oh my gosh, disoriented.
You're in your bubble. Yeah. So that having that physical, like it's written down. It can't change that easily. Like having that all the time, like really helps me not only get stuff done, but helps me structure my day further. Yeah, so try that.
My principal actually, she goes around with a clipboard. And I used to do this too when I was when we were working at summer camps together, which is another fun fact about Sam and Sam. But I would have a clipboard and I would write things down, and as I got to them, I would cross them off. So I just worked off this clipboard, and it really helped me like physically checking things off, writing things down that I needed to do. When I got to them, they got crossed off. I think having whatever works for you, whatever that balance is, you really have to create a system for not just the job you're in, but your own brain, like your own brain. If you don't need that physical reminder, you don't necessarily have to give it to yourself. But I think most people I've met have said that writing something down by hand has really helped them. And I think there is something to that. Like there is research again that shows that writing things by hand really adds it to our memory.
Totally. And for a while I had an ego and I was like, oh, like I can go full digital, but give it a try, give the physical thing a try. It definitely helped me. And going full digital is convenient, but there is something different about actually writing stuff down and taking it a little slower. I
also tried to do the full digital thing as a teacher, and there's just something about. I also need to be entertained by fun colors, so like, I'm like, oh, purple gel pen this time. I want to talk about one other tech.
Yeah, let's do it.
And this tech, this is not a paid advertisement, but I would love to be sponsored by this company. It's called Motion. And basically, motion, like in motion.
Oh,
like
okay, yeah.
Slow motion down.
Yeah, go for it. Sorry, expound.
Anyway,
expound.
Motion is a company, a calendar that basically does these 4 steps for you. I've learned about Motion after I started teaching this to students.
Okay.
Which is kind of crazy. Like it's people we're all kind of thinking the same things because there's something to that. Must be something to it. So you add in your tasks, and it is marketed as designed for people with ADHD, but it could help so many people. It does it all for you. So it puts in your meetings, it puts in your due dates, it tells you to split things up into tasks, and then as your day comes up, if something happens, if you didn't get to something, you just say you didn't get to it, and it'll reschedule automatically using AI.
Wow.
How to get to all your daily tasks and all the things you need to do.
All right. And all the tools that we talked about today, we are definitely going to list below. I want to shout out one more app. I haven't tried this yet, but it was put on my radar not too long ago. It's called Anytype, anytype.io. It says it is an everything app for those who celebrate trust and autonomy. So it's supposed to be like a notes app / reminders app that syncs to everything. And it's very open source and private. I think that's one thing a lot of these tools do is we give our data to these companies for this superhuman activity.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? Like Google knows I'm here right now. But yeah, try anytype.io. It claims to be super private, peer-to-peer. So if that's important to you, like privacy is important for you, definitely check that out as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, anytype.io. I'll definitely have to check it out when I get online. I definitely just saw it very recently, and it looks very cute.
Very cool. I think it's so important that we discover tools that work for us and share them with others. So if you have been using any of these, I would love to know if you've tried out Motion, which is quite expensive, or if you've tried out this
Anytype.
other.
I think Anytype is free for now because it's new.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then hopefully there's always more stuff coming out. So
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, definitely explore. Like don't
let
be
us
tied into
know.
one. Let us know what worked for you. Let us know if any of these didn't work for you. We'd love to learn and hear about how these tools help your life, if time blocking helped at all, and as well as like due dates, meetings, like that actually help structure your day a little better. So as we close out this lesson,
lesson.
lecture,
I hope
lesson,
it
this
doesn't
friendly
feel like
share. Friendly share.
Friendly share. Friend share.
As we close this friendly share, we're gonna give ourselves a challenge.
Okay.
We're gonna give Sam and Sam a challenge. We want to help you remember this through an acronym.
Oh
It's
yeah.
gonna be fun. So we did not prepare for this. So we're definitely making this on the fly.
Yeah, this is for sure real of
Okay.
us figuring out what this is.
All
So
right.
meetings. We could rebrand meetings, deadlines,
Due dates.
tasks, and then fun. That would give us 4 different letters. But
Ooh.
because I like the due dates versus the due dates, but they're the same.
That's true. It
start with
doesn't
the same
translate very
letter.
well to podcasts.
They really are meetings, deadlines. So M, D, T for tasks. I've already forgotten them.
Fun
and
was the
then
last
F
one.
for fun. Yeah. Self-care.
So MDTF. My duck took. What's an F word? My duck took fudge.
We took fudge. My duck took fudge. My
dog took fudge. That's not good. When dogs eat fudge. My dog fudge because it's chocolate, right? Dogs can't eat chocolate.
Do we not? What? This is good.
Right.
Mother's dog is friendly.
Sure. Mother's dog.
My
friendly.
duck is friendly.
Wait, but it's a T.
Wait. my duck tastes.
My duck tastes friendly. Okay, let's
Hopefully someone's remembered this by now.
So we have my dog takes fudge or my duck tastes friendly.
Comment below which one's better.
Yeah, which one's better? MTDF. So meetings, due dates, tasks, and fun. That's important. So hopefully that helps you remember. Let us know if it does or it doesn't. This is just some crazy experiment.
I'm gonna remember it now.
Yeah, my duck tastes funny. Even better. So
oh no, okay.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna think that's something else, but yeah, great.
So at this part of the episode, we would be reading answers of how people use these tools the week before. So next episode, we'll revisit any comments about how people maybe use time blocking in their day-to-day life and share those stories. So if you do have one about time blocking, now's the time to write in to the comments. I believe if you're listening to this on Spotify, there's actually a commenting feature as well. So you can write that in.
So fun.
Yeah.
Please comment. I would love to hear from you.
Yeah, we love to learn or love to know about how time blocking has helped you or not helped you. I don't know. But please write in and we'll share about it in the next episode. So before we close out our show for the first week, episode 1 done. I would like to thank actually first Launch Academy for hosting our podcast today. Launch Academy is Western Canada's premier tech accelerator and incubator. So if you have a startup that you would love to grow or expand to Canada, please check us out, launchacademy.ca. And maybe we'll have a program that will help you turn your startup into a business, successful business. So definitely check us out, launchacademy.ca. Samantha, where can people find you?
People can find me at Sam as a Coach. And that's it.
At Sam as a Coach on Instagram, right?
On Instagram, yes. And I have some slots opening up for coaching or for just giving you a little boost to help you do exactly this thing that I've basically described to you. But I can come in, I can actually help you do it alongside you.
Oh, nice. Wow. So like a one-on-one.
A one-on-one.
I'll help you out.
I'll help you out with your meetings, due dates, with your my duck.
My duck tastes funny.
My duck tastes funny.
Excellent. So definitely reach out to @SamIsAHuman for that. For myself, you can
@Sam as a coach.
Oh, sorry, @Sam is a coach for that.
I'm also a human.
Oh, are you? So @Sam is a coach. You can reach out to me @SamsonXP on all the socials, and you can follow this podcast @GrowUpLevelUp for more tips and tricks and episodes about how people grew up with the fun and hobbies that they grew up with and how it influences them today. Check out some of our older stuff. Check out what's coming up next and stay subscribed and follow along. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to serve you.